go
It's in the
to,
little dots here. It's in the little dots.
Mhm.
Okay, recording. All right. Normally it will come up and say recording, but it says recording, so we'll just keep going. Okay, hey everyone, this is a call about gold and silver, and I wanted to do this call with my friends Mark and Danielle. And it's kind of, I was saying to them earlier, it's like what's old is new again. I mean, this, gold and silver has been around for like 6,000 years, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, we're talking about it more and more today than we probably have, and well, certainly in my lifetime. And I met Mark and Danielle when my intuition in the middle of 2021 was just screaming for me to look into silver. And I had no idea why I was going, I get goosebumps talking about it. I don't know why I was going down that path, but I was feeling kind of vulnerable in what was happening in terms of the banking and the shift in the economy and everything that was going on. I had already cashed in my portfolio, my traditional portfolio, invested in some land. It was like, okay, I'm still not right. So I went on the hunt to find a silver investment, whatever that meant, knew nothing about what I was doing. And I met Mark and Danielle. And when they told their story, we've been talking today about teams and about the value of teams and the value of not going it alone, but learning and combining and surrounding yourself with like minds so that you can all inspire one another. And I've been so ecstatic. I said last year, this was the best decision I ever made. So I want to introduce you to Mark and Danielle. I'm in Canada. They're actually in Maine. And so welcome, Mark and Danielle. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. So you told your story about when you first bought about precious metals and what that experience was. And I just think that's so relevant. So do you mind sharing that story again, please?
Sure. You want me to share?
Yeah, you can share.
Okay.
That's respect.
Yeah. So, like you, Jay, 2020 happened, and I always say, and I know it sounds corny, but it fits, that the silver lining of 2020 and, us being kept in our homes was that we are given the gift of time. So we chose to use that time to raise our awareness, ask questions, research, look, find. And one of the things that kept showing up was gold and silver. And kind of like you, out of nowhere, because prior to 2020, if anybody would have brought up gold and silver, I would have thought they were talking about a jewelry choice, right? I never thought of it from an asset holding standpoint. So, but we follow Robert Kiyosaki, and he kept tweeting. I mean, literally, it was every day. I'm like, buy gold and buy silver. It just kept showing up. I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm very like you. I'm very intuitive, and I'm like, there's a message here. So we both, and Mark likes to try to claim that he's the one who also, but we were seeing the same message because we both follow Robert Kiyosaki. And so at that point, it's like, well, where do we even get it? Like, where do we buy gold and silver? So of course, the way life happens, I actually had a friend, the day I asked that question, post a Robert Kiyosaki gold and silver quote on Facebook. So I reached out and I said, do you guys have gold and silver? And she said, we do. And I said, where do you get it? And she said, we go to the local dealer. So we said, okay, I've driven by Maine Gold and Silver a million times. I always thought, I was like, I assumed it was a pawn shop. I had no idea what happened in there. So I'm like, is that the place? And so sure enough, it was. And Mark called and told them what our plan was. And our plan was basically, we took what was sitting in our savings account, earning nothing, actually going backwards. And we wanted to turn that insure that with gold and silver. And Mark called and the guy said, give me 3 hours and come on in. And so we went in, and it was very intimidating, by the way, because when you don't know, anything about what you're about to partake in, you can be taken advantage of, right? So we're like, okay, we're trusting here that this is going to go well, and walked in, and it was literally an exchange. They gave us gold and silver. We gave them our fiat currency. We didn't get an education. We didn't get any information. We didn't even get a choice in what the metals were we were getting. So we left and got home. We were grateful to have our gold and silver. I was still so skeptical. I'm like, how do I know this isn't spray painted on? That's how clueless I was. So anyway, we realized it was legit. We tucked it away and didn't think much more about it. We didn't even know what we were supposed to do with it. We just put it in a safe and kind of walked away from it. And then 6 months later, our friend Kathy called us to take a look at a membership she had just started using. And we said, Kathy, we've got a million things going on. You know, we love you. Out of courtesy, we'll take a look. What does it have to do with? And she said gold and silver. So instantly we were intrigued. It's like, okay, here's gold and silver again.
Yeah.
And we got started with our membership, and it's been a game changer. I like to say it's kind of the concierge approach to buying gold and silver, and everything that was lacking from our experience, this membership has met. So.
No, I just say, I mean, the biggest thing is that you're not doing it on your own. Like you just mentioned with teamwork, you got people who are there to help you. So it's not just a mass piling up of the ignorant or anything like that. It's taking people and really educating them through the platform, but also through other different trainings that we have. And I'm putting myself in that category of the ignorant. So I don't want anybody thinking that I'm labeling anybody, because most people are. I mean, and what I mean by that is they don't know, and don't know is because we're not taught. And, you know, right now, the people who are blinding themselves to what's going on in the world are just simply sitting back and saying, you know what, they're going to take care of us. They won't do anything to hurt us. And I would simply say we need to look out for ourselves when it comes to the money situation. The economic situation around the world is when they just held a World Economic Forum where they're planning on taking this into directions that none of us want to go. And so how do we protect ourselves against that? It's getting your hands on assets that are physical, that have always been money and can be recognized anywhere around the world.
For sure. And we're not groomed to look after ourselves. I mean, that, you know, and I think that's when I said, you know, what's old is new again, that when you look into the people who have wealth, they have gold and silver in their portfolios, and they always have, because they have known the value of gold and silver. But for the average person, we were educated to, you know, save your money in the bank and, you know, get your mortgage and pay it off. And, you know, at the end of the day, there's not a lot. And I don't know about you guys, but I never had a lot of money to save, right? I mean, you invest in what you can, you know, you're told to put it into your, you know, in our case, RSPs, in your case, 401ks, or, you know, and you put it into kind of traditional markets. And those are the people who advise us. People aren't advising us about precious metals, who again have been around for, you know, several thousand years, and are, you know, we call it sound money, right? I'm playing with it now. Silver is just such a natural metal that I have some of the silver eagles on my desk, and I just rub them and hold them, and you know, you know, you guys mentioned to me that that 90% of the people in the world have never held silver, which I found astonishing. But so I started carrying a silver coin with me just to have a conversation with people, see where they're at. And people are like, wow, you know, that's so cool. Yeah.
Sure. I was going to say, and we're not at home right now, because if we were, we would be holding ours, but I keep a little pocket near me, but it's exactly what you said too. When people hold it for the first time, I mean, there's an immediate reaction, you know, like it's heavy and it vibrates so high. I mean, there's healing properties, right? We can ingest silver. You hold it, you know, it's God's money. So.
Right. Now I'm going to circle back to this membership, because I think that's why we're having this conversation. That's the bigger deal. If I had done what you did, go to a dealer, grab, you know, some silver and buried it in my backyard or whatever, I mean, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But the difference is, when you came into the membership and, you know, and you were, you know, wise enough to trust Kathy, your friend, and say, okay, well, we'll have a look at it. And I don't know about you, but I know when I first got into the membership, I only saw, you know, the door was just kind of cracked a little bit open, right? I only saw a little bit of what it was all about. And it was kind of like a, you know, a Costco membership, is that, you know, you get your membership and you kind of know that you're going to save on whatever. And then it's not until you get in there, you go, oh, they have TVs and they have diamond rings, and I can get, you know, shutters for my window. And you start discovering all of these amazing benefits. But the difference that we found with you know, with our membership program, not only, and I'll let you talk about the, you know, the team and the education, but the fact that what many people that I find absolutely adore about this is the concept of being able to buy fractional amounts. And so the membership, I think, is designed for the average person who never understood the value of gold and silver, you know, as an asset, and don't know how to get in, maybe don't have the money, you know, to get those several $1,000s of investment. And if you can buy a fraction of a coin, how brilliant is that? Like everybody can get into it, right?
That's absolutely what I love. I love that it allows the masses to take part. Gold and silver, traditionally has been something that only the wealthy really had access to. And this membership, because of the education and the accessibility, you realize not only that you can afford it because you can get it in fractional amounts, but you realize what you need, why you need it. And again, going back to the community, that was kind of this, as you said, that you peek through the door and you're like, the best part has been the community, to be surrounded by like-minded people who are looking to empower themselves, empower their families, not relying on, what we're being told, not worried about what's going on the outside, because we're taking our power back.
But nobody's doing it on their own. That's what's so cool. We're all doing it together, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we're all feeding off of one another, whether it's education or best practice, or I just learned this or that, go over there to do that. And there's so much help and so much mentorship, that comes with being in that community, and the enthusiasm and the fact that I think everybody feels like, gosh, I'm not only helping myself, I'm helping other people, right? Because there is a share element to the membership that compensates people who want to talk about it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I know there's 10 or 12 different benefits that come along with the membership. And, that we just had a Zoom this morning and we had members on there and they were just sharing story after story after story. So, I mean,
yeah,
that speaks volumes more than us trying to tell anybody what it can do, is when it's impacting life.
So true. And most people come, everybody comes in for their own reason. I think a lot of people have a lot of questions when they go to invest, who do I trust and where do I go and how do I buy it? And I think that's where when I heard your story and I started to look at the membership, there was a safety factor with it, knowing that everything was that authenticated and that, that the company never sold anything they didn't have in their possession, the security of the vault, all of those things that when you come in, you don't even know what questions to ask. And then when you start to peek around, in the membership and share and listen to those stories that everybody's telling us, like, wow, this is the real deal. Yeah. Yeah.
I think the one thing that we feel good about is that we empower people. There's so many people that they're feeling loss of hope. And they're hearing a recession's coming, it's going to get worse, gas is going to keep going up. And they're just sitting there saying, well, what can I do? They're working maybe jobs and they can't go out there and earn additional income because maybe they're on an hourly wage or maybe a salary, whatever it may be. Well, the biggest thing I would tell people is protect what you've worked so hard for, because the dollar is dropping in value by the day. I'm not trying to be a deliverer of bad news, but it's a fact. And they want to take this to a digital system. And the only way they can do that is to basically kind of, in a sense, destroy the economic system that we have in place globally, in which we all have our currencies based around a fiat system. And with the fact that now the US is over 30 trillion in debt, they're putting us to a point of no return, and where people need to be proactive, go out there and get your hands on money that's always been money. Anywhere in the world, it's money. And, that's my best tip for everybody.
You mentioned about like both an offense and a defensive strategy, the defense to protect your wealth, and then the offense. And we can talk about this in another Zoom about some of the numismatics and some of the collectibles, which are, really that your offensive strategy of actually growing your wealth. Right. But anyway, I don't want to keep you any further because I know you've got a busy day today. So thank you so much for coming on. And I want to invite everyone, Mark, you guys, both in you and Danielle, you always say, this isn't for everybody, and we get that, but at least just check it out before you say no. And I'm going to invite people to do that. We have calls on a regular basis, or we're happy to do 3 ways with you. We have Mark's recorded like 300 videos that are on YouTube. I mean, there's so many options to learn a little bit more about the membership. So we invite you to come on, crack that door open, see what's going on in here, and see, a really vibrant group of people who are making a difference in the world. We call it a human approach. So, yeah, so thank you both so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will see you on the next call.
Sounds good, Jay. Thank you.
Have a great one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.